sort of how it's going to work tonight. I'm going to walk through several slides with some information that I think you all will find useful as we head into the beginning of the year. And unfortunately, time won't allow us to have an interactive question and answer session. However, please feel free to type any questions that come up for you in the chat. And our wonderful secretary, Nicole Morris, will record the questions from this evening. And then we will get together and I'll convene a team if I need to be able to put together some answers to your questions. And then I'll send them out via Parent Square as an FAQ. So don't hesitate to write your question in the chat. You can write it to everyone or you can write it just directly to me. There's that option in the chat feature. So my name is Katie Beckett and I get the honor and pleasure of being the new principal of the newly reconfigured Mark Twain Elementary. And I really cannot tell you how excited I am to be here. And as the last few weeks have come along, I've gotten to get to know staff and we've had our incoming kinders in the building this week, which has been wonderful. We've even had groups of kids come to the office for some demonstration lessons, which has been really fun. So I am just very excited to get this year off and running to a good start, even though we're a little bit behind. My first day on the job was the second week of August, and that week was training days. And so my first day in the building, I think, was August 15th. So we are a little bit behind, but I am happy that you are here so that you can hear some information that I think will be helpful to you. So I'm going to share my screen really quick. Bear with me. Okay, so today we're going to cover just a few things. I'll introduce myself and give you some background information on who I am and where I come from and all of that good stuff. And then what to expect the first week back, what our arrival and dismissal procedures will be this year, our back to school night, and then some safety precautions that we are taking quite seriously at Mark Twain this year. And so we'll get into that a little bit toward the end. Okay, so like I said, my name is Katie Beckett, and here is my contact information. This will be posted on our website and also sent out through Parent Square, the presentation I'm giving, so that you can have the information available to you. I have been a teacher for 22 years. This is my 22nd year. I started out in East County, Portland, in David Douglas. It's a school district that has about 12,000 kids in it, and it's in East Portland, so East County, between Southeast Portland and Gresham. Quite a diverse district. I was there for 15 years, and I was an elementary reading specialist for 10 of those years. And then I went to the district level and became what's called a teacher on special assignment, And the acronym for that is TOSA. So I became a TOSA and I was in charge of kindergarten through 12th grade literacy. So core language arts instruction at all levels and intervention and those multi-tiered systems of support for that, for literacy. And then about 7 years ago, I joined the Tigard-Tualatin School District in a very similar role at the district level. And Tigard's where I went to school as a kid. It's where I live. It's where my kids go to school. But I absolutely jumped at the opportunity to come down to Silverton and take on the challenge of leading a newly configured staff in a K-5 school, and I'm just so excited to be here. My door is always open for you for questions or concerns or even celebrations that you want to talk through. So please don't hesitate to come on over and knock on my door. Okay, so the first week of school, as you probably know, I hope, is September 7th through the 10th. The doors open to Mark Twain at 7:30 in the morning. We have 4 buses that are slated to come to Mark Twain, and they're scheduled to drop off at 7:30. So students will come in at 7:30 if they need to eat breakfast. And so between 7:30 and 7:50, students will eat breakfast in the gym and have supervision there, of course, and then possibly go outside for a morning recess if they finish eating early. And then at 7:50, the first bell will ring. And that means that students are to head to their classrooms. And at 8 a.m., the second bell will ring, and that means the instructional day begins. And then midday, we have a staggered lunch schedule, and we're sort of cohorting our kindergarten and first grade students. They'll have lunch first, and then our second and third grade students will come in after K and 1 are done. And then the last lunch will be fourth and fifth grade. Students have PE every day. So it's very important that they bring, your students bring shoes that are appropriate for PE activities each day of the week. And then in the afternoon at 2:25, students who ride the bus will be dismissed to go load up the buses. And then at 2:30, students who are picked up will be dismissed. The kindergarten schedule for the first week back is a little bit different than it's been done in the past. So this one you'll want to listen to carefully. And also all this information will be posted on our website and sent out in an informational letter to all families tomorrow as well. But September 7th is the first day of school for all kindergartners. So all kindergartners show up on the 7th to go to their classrooms. Then on the 8th and the 9th, your kindergarten teacher will schedule individual appointments for you and your child to come get to know each other and do some brief assessments. And so your student will either be scheduled on the 8th and they'll come for their appointment on the 8th, and then they won't come to school on the 9th, or they won't come to school on the 8th and they will come to school on the 9th for their appointment. And then on Friday, September 10th, all students come back, all kindergarten students come back. So this is kindergarten specific, and the idea is that we're easing into the first week and really getting to know your child and building relationships with you and your child before starting our academic road together. Registration packets will be sent home with students in homework folders on the first week of school. So definitely check backpacks and the folders and return any necessary paperwork. And like I said, informational letters will be sent home tomorrow in the mail, and all of these details will be included in that, and it will also be posted on the website. Also, there's been some interest in class lists, and I understand that, and I remember that as a kid and as a parent for my own 2 children. And we are working on those, but there's a few things that we need to do before we can post them. The first one is that we are actually hiring for a 5th grade teaching position. So that will definitely impact those class lists. And also we're registering many, many new students each day. And so our goal is to have class lists available by late next week. Okay. So arrival and dismissal. Morning arrival, if you are dropping your student off, is at the front door. So you'll drop your student off and then head on out. You can drop your student off at 7:30 if they need to eat breakfast, or just before or right at 7:50, and you can drop them off and they can come right in and go to class. And then for dismissal at 2:25, like I said earlier, the students will be dismissed, and then 2:30, students who are getting picked up will be dismissed. If you're picking your student up, that area is the gravel parking lot by the gym, and we'll have people out there helping, and we'll have signs and things like that so that you'll know where to go. Our back to school night. Our back to school night is, save the date for this, it's going to be Tuesday, September 14th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. There's going to be staggered times that you will attend, and it'll be by last name, and those details will be coming very soon. But basically, this is a night for all of us to get to know each other, for you to get to know your students' teachers, and most importantly, what they're going to be learning this year. So you'll have time in the classroom with the teacher to be able to ask questions and talk about routines and procedures and all of that good stuff. You'll be learning about the standards that your students will be working toward, and all of that this night. Some of you might be familiar with parent orientation, or last year I think there was a drive-through registration and information event. This is what we're going to do this year. So mark your calendars for Tuesday, September 14th. Okay. And finally, safety precautions at Mark Twain Elementary. So this is and seems to be an ever-changing landscape. And we are doing our very best to keep up with it, to follow all of the state and district mandates and guidance. So therefore, masks are required for all students, staff, and any visitors. Masks need to cover your nose and your mouth. And there's some new guidance out about masks outside. And we will be operating under, I think there was some communication sent out from our director of communication tonight, but we'll be operating off of the former mask rule. So outside, if our students can be distanced, they do not have to wear masks. So we'll be maintaining 3 feet of distance when we're outside so students can take their masks off for recess and things like that. We will definitely be washing hands frequently, both with soap and water and also with hand sanitizer. We have hand sanitizing stations that will be up, and we'll wash hands before and after lunch and recess and between hands-on activities. We'll also be grouping our students. So like I explained before with lunches, our kindergarten and first grade students will be a cohort. And so whenever we need to bring groups of students together for assemblies or celebrations or anything like that, we will maintain a K1 cohort, a 2nd and 3rd grade cohort together, and a 4th and 5th grade cohort together. So that includes assemblies, bathroom breaks, recesses, anything like that. And as I mentioned before, we will do everything we can to maintain 3 feet apart to the best extent possible at all times, which is our guidance. We will also be having breakfast and lunch in the gym so that we can spread out a little bit more and ensure that there is distancing happening. I am going to stop sharing my screen. And I do have a little bit of time to read through some of your questions. Yes, so the question is, will we be able to walk our kids in on the first day of school? Absolutely. So I know that this was not allowed when we were in hybrid in the spring, but as long as the adults walking students in have masks on, you may walk in and drop your student off for school. We can't have people staying in classrooms just because of the numbers. We need to keep the numbers low, but you can definitely walk your student into school on the first day and maybe even the first week, depending on what grade level your child is in. There's a few questions about vaccinations and the new guidance about the vaccination mandate for staff. And that is all being worked out at the district level. They are taking the mandate and they are negotiating with the different union organizations, and then they're going to come out with very clear guidance for us. But we don't have that quite yet about how we are going to ensure or what the protocols will be for that. So I don't have an answer for you yet on that. I have a concern that the links for the school supply lists on the website don't work. So yes, we can take a look at that. I will have somebody take a look at that and see if we can get those working. Okay, so a great question. Will students be receiving music at Mark Twain now that the schools are split? Yes, we do. We have a halftime music teacher, so we will be offering music 2 to 3 times a week for your students. It's very exciting. Okay, I don't see any more questions coming, but I'm going to leave the meeting open for the next, probably about 10 minutes or so. And please feel free to put your questions in the chat and I'll be here to answer. But that is the bulk of the presentation today, short and sweet. And next week, we're going to be joined by our nurses. And so they'll be able to answer some questions that you might have about safety precautions at that time. So mark that on your calendar, next Thursday, same time. I did mention that there was a 5th grade teacher opening. Yes, there is. So if any of you know a great applicant, please encourage them to apply. We are doing some interviews tomorrow, but definitely always looking for more quality candidates. We do have other open positions. We have a reading specialist opening, and that's a full-time position. We have a counselor opening, which is a full-time position. And then we have a part-time, so half-day PE position that we're trying to fill. So those are our open positions for the year. So the question is, are parents buying school supplies or are we sending money with students for the teachers to buy supplies? Yes, so students in kindergarten through 3rd grade will send $35 with their students or come to the office and it's $35 for supplies. And then 4th and 5th grade, we'll get the links working, but you do have school supply lists. Parent volunteers. So we are very, very hopeful that we'll be able to have parent volunteers this year. It will all just depend on the vaccination mandate and how all of that sort of rolls out. And because that would also apply to volunteers. So stay tuned for that, but we have to wait until we have all that information before we can open up our doors for volunteers. But fingers crossed that will happen soon. Will kids need to wear masks during PE? Good question. We'll probably have to sift through the guidance to get a for sure answer. So I'm going to save that one for our Q&A that I'll push out on Parent Square. Because I just want to make sure that I don't, say something that isn't true. But I think we all at this point, after everything we've all been through, I hope there's a common understanding that all of these things are in the moment and they change quickly. And I know that that is frustrating, and I will do my very best to be open and communicative and make sure you guys know. But I will take that question and get a good answer for you and push it out in the FAQ. I do know, so the question about, do you know when the district will distribute bus schedules? I do know that all of the bus information was due to the district last Friday, and that they're frantically working on getting routes configured and all of that. So I would expect it soon. But I will call the bus barn, and I will put that in the FAQ as well. An after school program this year. The only program that I know of so far is the after school daycare through Circle of Friends. And I think that it's an outside agency that uses our space. And so you would need to contact them for after school care. But as far as academic programs, that is to be determined. Where will class lists be once posted? I think typically in the past, they've been printed off and posted on the front doors. So that is where I believe they will be. If I'm not correct on that, then I'll let you know in the FAQ. Okay, so please, I will definitely leave the chat open for questions for the next 5 to 8 minutes. I am going to go and get ready we're having the same presentation in Spanish for our Spanish speaking families, but I'm very thankful that you all were here tonight, and I'm really looking forward to a great year ahead. Okay, I'll see you next week.